Hello, everyone. Just checking to see if I have this orientation right. So sorry. I wish they had a um, tester button, but they don't. So let's see if I got this right this time. Okay, I got it right. So hopefully I get, you can see me good. Hi, Julie. I had to kind of redo here and make sure I could get this landscape orientation. So today I was just popping on. I ordered this fun little calendar I thought would be, hi, Tina. Thanks, Tina, for coming back. I had to get the orientation right on my camera. Anyway, I was on Amazon and I saw this and I just thought it looked so fun. So I'm going to make several of these. I'm going to order some more. I wanted to play with them first. They're little calendar pages. And I thought, how fun to give that to some of my family. So I was going to go ahead and paint in January, but what I'm going to do is draw it first, and then we will go ahead and paint it. Hi, Louise. I'm glad you're back. Hi, Jean. Okay, so they included this. I suppose it's like a little stand, kind of cute. It looks like a little bunny. And then you just prop up. I just opened this, so just got it from Amazon. And by the way, these are only $15. But look how cute that is. So you set it up. I'm going to paint a flower or something that depicts whatever the month is. So I thought for January, the flower is those little teardrops or snowdrops, which are so cute. So I thought we'd go ahead and I almost want to paint them this way, but that I guess wouldn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and draw them on here first. So if you want to draw with me, that would be great. And then we'll go ahead and paint them. I've got my 8 brush, but you could use those Tagatos. You know, we love those. So I think how I'm going to draw them first is, let's just do a couple. So they kind of come out like that. Like that. Hi, Haley Knapp. Aw, thank you for the rose. There we go. And then maybe one more here. And if you've followed me for a while, you know I love guidelines. So I'm going to create myself some little guidelines here. And this is for January. And I believe the snowdrop or teardrop, I think that is a January flower. So I'll just sketch this on here really quick. And then they're kind of like this dome shape, like that. And then I'll draw in those petals. But what a fun little gift. For $15, I'm going to give this to some of my friends and some of my family. There we go. Oh, thank you. You know what? Actually, these were from Amazon too, I bought, but they're also, if you're in with my subscription box, they come with one of the boxes too as a little gift. Okay, then what I'm going to do is go inside and start drawing in my little petals. So just like that, maybe, let's see, let's have that one curving over, something like that. And then maybe one coming down. Okay, so I'm just going to do that for each of those. And you can always make one leaf folding over. So let's just do another one right here. Start in the middle. Like that. We'll just keep it easy. And same thing down here. Our middle, side. These are the cutest flowers. I've tried, oop, my eraser's missing. I've tried growing them a few times, but they don't do very well here. I think it's too hot. Okay. This paper, by the way, that they include in these little calendars for $15, and they actually sell them in packs, which I was thinking of buying because since I'm going to give them to a few people. Another reason why I love these little eraser pencils too, because that little tiny eraser is so handy dandy. Okay. So then I'll go in and I'll just do the long leaves with my brush. Let me check. Love your brush, Jan. Oh, fab, I'm gonna get one. Yeah, I'll, hi, Kim. I missed something. Was this a, oh no, I just happened to hop on here. Artistic Thoughts by Alina. Okay, so I've got that. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take my little 8 brush. And remember, you know, if you have that Degato set, it's so great. I think this whole set's like $15 and you get 10 brushes. Really great. What I'm going to do first is just create my little swatch. And I'm using my MeiLang paints. I want to start doing more lives on here because I miss you guys. I've just been so wrapped up in, I guess, life, right? Like a lot of us. And just going to swatch out my colors so I kind of have an idea of the colors I'm going to use. The teardrops are pretty easy, but I love the colors. So in here, if you've got the Paul Rubens MeiLang palette, I love this lemony green. So I'll just swatch that out, and I'll list any supplies you guys might be interested in. I'll dig up my links and put them down there. Isn't that a pretty green? So perfect for snowdrops. And then I think I'll use a little bit of the olive just for some highlights, or I guess shadows, more like it. Look how pretty those go together though. Oh, I love that. So when I add it to that lemony, limey green, it's going to be really pretty. By the way, I have my 2 containers of water. Somebody just asked me about that. Always making sure you wash your brush and rinse it. Because if I went from green to red, I'd get a really muddy color if my brush wasn't... Oh, how funny. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? Those watercolor pencils. Lisa, I need to do some more of those. I love playing with those. Okay, so the only other color I think I might need here, I can throw in there some of the tree green, but you know what? It's pretty close to what that green is. So I'm going to put it here. Oop, I got some pink in there. Big surprise, right? You know I love my pinks. How fun, Lisa. And then the last color, so the snowdrops kind of have just a tint. They're basically white, but we're going to use just the tiniest touch of that Payne's gray, and then I'm going to really water it down to a light value. The value just meaning I've probably got for a shadow, this is probably 80% water, 20% pigment. So those are the colors, guys. That's a really simple color palette. And you might just practice, you know, creating that really light shadowy color. And most of this is going to be wet or damp and damp, I like to say. Okay, so back to my little drawing. Then I'll just create the long petals with my brush. Those are easy peasy. What I'm going to do first, since this is a gift, normally I leave my drawing lines on my paper for you guys, but because this might be a gift, I'm just going to lighten them up a little bit. Sorry for that camera shake. Whoop. So that they don't show up as much through my watercolors, because watercolors is so transparent. All right. Let me move everything out of the way. Got my palette here. Let me see if I can move over so you can kind of see my palette. There we go. Okay. Got my paper towel. Okay, I think we're ready. So what I'm going to start with first is just wetting some of my flowers. Wash, rinse, because I had a little bit of that black in there. Aren't those greens pretty? Oh, good. Yeah, white flowers can be a little tricky, but you know, if you really look at white, they have so many other colors in a white flower. They'll have purples or maybe some greens and things like that. So I'm going to start over here, and my brush is like damp. If I hold it up, there's nothing dripping off it. So you don't want too much water on there. I got it wet, scraped it off, and if I hold it up, it's not dripping. If you're not sure, you can always tap off and get some of that water off your brush. And then just point, press to open my brush up. And I'm doing that left petal and then the right, because I don't want to do them right next to each other. And then I'm going to go in there. So no puddle where I just put that water down. It's just nice and shiny. And then I'm going to go into, let me flip my big giant palette around here that I love, and go into some of that light green. Put it in my palette. I just want a tiny bit, guys, because I'm kind of working in a tiny area here too. And what I'm going to do is just start tapping in. Look at that. See? Gosh, I hope you can see that. Let me see if I can. It's always hard for me because I want you to see what I'm painting, but at the same time, I know a lot of you like to see my water and such. So I rinsed my brush, I'm tapping it off, and I'm going to just lift out with what they call a thirsty brush, some of that, because I want it to be more green at the top. There we go. So just tapping in. Look how pretty that is. It just kind of spreads on its own. Hi, Cynthia. Oh, thank you. You have, Cynthia? Thank you for sticking with me. Now, this is probably starting to dry. Oh, it's still. So look at that, guys. Like, it's spreading. You don't need that much water. Let me see if, tell me, you guys, would you rather have me showing more of my paints and things or more zoomed in on what I'm doing? Because that's always a bit of a challenge for me, because some like to see exactly what I'm painting. Others, want to see my water and my palette and things like that. So hopefully you can see that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. But what I might do, so here's another color. I didn't put it on our swatch, but I'm going to take just the tip of my brush, tiny bit of that yellow ochre, and a little bit of the green. Ooh, I hope you can see this. And I'm going to tap in. See what that did? Isn't that so pretty? Oh, I love that. So it's got these snowdrops have a little dome on them. Oh, can you zoom? Oh, zoomed in? You'd rather see zoomed in? Okay, let me see if I can figure it out. Let's see if that. Is that better, guys? Let me know if you like that better. I can make the picture bigger on my phone. Oh, cool, Lisa. Yeah, that's what I do too. Okay, so hopefully you can see that green and the gold I just put in there. Isn't that so pretty? How it just blends. And then I'm going to wait to do my little center flower there. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked. So I rinsed my brush again, scraping it off. Sorry for see that big giant hand in there. And then let's just wet this one. So I'm just making it damp like that. And then the right side, just making it damp. There is absolutely no puddle there. It's just shiny. And then I'm going to go in with that green. So I've got a tiny bit of green here. Tap off my brush because I don't want too much. And I'm going to start tapping in. And look, it goes. You guys, I don't even have to hardly do anything. It goes. Oh, good, Louise, Jean. Oh, that's fantastic. You know how I can be a little challenged with camera angles and stuff. But do you guys see that? I barely wet it. I barely had any liquid on my brush. And when I tapped, it just, whew, isn't that great? So now I'm going to go in and pick up a little bit of that yellow ochre mixed with the green, tap, tap, tap my brush off, and let's create the little dome at the top of these. These are such cute flowers. If you can grow these, you're so lucky. I wish I could. And look at, now that blends, but yet the tips of the flower are still white. Isn't that great? Now let's go to this flower down here. So rinsing my brush, it's pretty dry. It's shiny, but if I hold it up, no drips anywhere. Tip of my brush, a little bit of pressure, and just fill that in. Same on this side. And then we're going to do those leaves, which will be really fun. I mean, especially because I'm painting small here, because these are probably like 5 by 7. I don't need hardly any liquid, you guys. If I was on a bigger sheet of paper, I'd probably need more. Okay, and then pick up some of my green paint, tap, 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 because I don't want too much. And look what happens when I tap in there. It just goes. I don't even hardly have to do anything. Let's pick up a tiny bit more of that green paint. Oh, look how pretty. I could still even go in there because it's kind of cold here. So that is still kind of wet. And we could even go into the top there with just the tiniest, tiniest touch of that olive green. So let me show you, because this is important, and how much paint you put on. I know my palette looks ginormous right now in the camera. My brush is same wetness. I'm just barely tapping in. And I'm going to tap into the top here. And it's just going to go. Like, I need so little, you guys. And then maybe here. And look at it go. It starts moving. Now, this one's dry, so it's not going to do much of anything. A little bit. And then let's wash our brush. Pick up some of that gold. Kim and Tina, so good to see you here, by the way. Is anybody painting with me? If I know if I announced these more, but I missed you guys. I've been way too busy lately with family stuff. If I announce these, then you could bring so I'm just dotting in, by the way, some gold. But look how it spreads really pretty. So I'm going to let those dry because I want to go into that little center part and not have it all just turn into a big blob. So I'm going to go ahead and do my stems here. So got my brush. I'm going to go into my paint. Let's see if I can get over there. Woo, look at me. And grab some of that light pink. Tap it off. Tap, tap, tap. Back on over, guys. Hopefully that works for you and I'm not making you dizzy. Aw, thank you, Tina. Feeling the love. You know what? It's so cool because like Tina and who was the other one? Cynthia. You guys have been with me for so long and I really appreciate that. So I'm going in with the tip of my brush because I want a thin line. And then as I go down, I might make it a little bit thicker. And I always anchor my hand, by the way, because I don't have a super duper steady hand. So I'm just using that beautiful tip. Another reason why it's really important to give that tip some love. Now, what I'm going to do in there before it gets too dry is just pick up some of that green. Like, look at, there's hardly anything there, guys. And go right along. Oh, look how fun that is. This is the beauty of watercolor, you guys, is it just kind of blends and does its thing. So cool, right? Oh, you know what? Let me get you, will you guys hold just a second? And I will, because we're kind of done with that. We're going to go on to the other one. Let me get you that link for the calendars. Thank you for asking, Kim. I really appreciate that. I only bought one so far, but I'm going to buy, oh boy, I'm going to buy more because I want to give these as gifts. Okay, here we go. So here, hi Betty from Florida. That's was my grandma's name, so I love that. Okay, so that is the link, by the way, for these calendars. And like I said, I'm going to buy about 6 of them and give them as gifts. Like, what a cute little gift. Yeah, I missed you guys, Kim. Uh-oh, Lisa, hopefully the pharmacy thing isn't a big deal. But I will make sure this gets up and you can come back to it. Okay, so back over to my palette. We're going to the next stem. So by the way, this is about 50% pigment, 50% water. Tap, tap, tap. Back over. And Betty was your mom's name? Oh, so cool, Kim. What's so funny is my name obviously is Debbie, but people used to call me Betty. They thought I was saying Betty for years when I was in corporate. Okay, so I'm using that tip, and look at that fine line. This is too, guys, where, you know, practicing your brush strokes is so important, because there's times when, you know, you want this little fine line. Now I'm going to go in there with that teeny, tiny, tiny bit of dark olive green, like hardly anything, and put that in there, kind of up here. Look how, I mean, you guys, this is why I fall in love with watercolors, because look what it's doing. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, let's go to our last one here, and I will get that on my brush again. I'm not making you guys dizzy, am I? Oops, some of that gold's creeping in there. Tap, tap, tap. I want you to see me loading my brush. Hopefully that helps. And then tip of my brush, the more pressure I put on there, the thicker that line will become. There we go. Look how cute. Aren't those fun? Okay. You know what I'm doing next. Back to that dark green. And touching in. And it just, the watercolor does all the work for you. So we're almost done with those. And when this dries, it'll be just a tad lighter. Oh, thank you, Louise. Oh, good, Tina. Gosh, I missed you guys. But you know what? Family stuff is getting settled finally, and I hope to do a lot more of these because I really did miss you guys. Okay, let's do those fun leaves now, and then we'll come back and do those center areas, which I was thinking I might do a little bit of that Payne's gray, but I don't know. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay, so for the leaves, you know what, you guys, you know what brush should be perfect? Can anybody guess to make those leaves, because they're kind of oval at the end? If one of you guess, if you're in the US, I'll send you a pack of my cards. Did I show you already? Okay. Did anybody guess? Let me look. Oh, Tina, how did you know? Okay, Tina, I am sending you a pack of cards, girl. You email me or message me and tell me what your address is, and I will send those out for you. You are right, a filbert. So I'm wetting my brush, tapping it off. Yay! Ah, you got it too, Lisa. You know what? Heck, I'll maybe send you some too. If oh my gosh, you guys are on fire today. Okay, so let's go to our green here, and we could even almost double load. So let's pick up some of that green, that beautiful light green, And then maybe, I haven't done this, you guys, so this is a little experiment. Maybe put a little bit of the olive green on the other side. I don't know. I don't know, guys, if this will work or not, but I'm hoping it will. And then the other side with that light green. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to start up here. And I've got my brush on the side, by the way. I know, Jean, I am very spontaneous, so I really appreciate you like that. I'm sure that could drive some people kind of crazy. So I am on its side, although, okay, here's a thought. If I'm going to double load each side, I'd almost need it to be like that. So we'll play with both. So press and come down. There we go. There's our first leaf. I'm going to wet my brush just a little bit because I got just a barely a touch of dry brush there, which is fine. And then let's do another one here. So I'm actually using my brush on the side, but look at that wonderful little curve there. And then right here, press. So my brush is opening up. There we go. Look how cute this is going to be. I'm going to add just a touch of that dark green. So I just used the side of my brush a bit. Ah, so pretty, guys. Okay, let's do that again. So I'm going to go into my green here, that beautiful limey green. And I kind of tapped off, back over. Is that driving you guys nuts? Going back and forth, guys? Hopefully not. And let's do some more. So maybe one here, press. So I'm opening that brush to get that kind of wide tip. And then I might just tip in with a tad of that dark green, just a little bit down towards the edge, and let it blend. Look at all the beautiful colors, you guys. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I just rinsed off my brush. Let's see, where else should we do a leaf? How about if we come out here? And this time I'm going to use the regular sap green, and if you know, oops, I wasn't even showing you. If you notice, I'm going right into the tin, so it's going to be a lot more saturated. And let's create a leaf coming out here. So placing my brush there, opening it up with pressure, and pull it out. Now, I want to make the tip of that leaf a little bit fatter. So do you notice what happens when I use more paint and it's more saturated? Yes, I know. I've heard these really pop through the snow. I mean, how cool is that? They come forward. So let me show you this. I'm going to rinse my brush off. So now there's hardly any paint there. And let's see what happens when I put a leaf in the back. So let's do one coming maybe here. Oop, that is really light. I'm going to grab just a tiny bit more paint and kind of tuck it in there. So if you notice now, that one looks like it's in the back. Yes, the darker ones pop forward. Exactly, Tina. So we can add a few of those in here just for some fun. Let's do a long one, maybe right here. So even though I'm going over that branch or stem, because it's lighter, it kind of tucks in the back. Isn't that pretty? Love it. Well, I almost feel like we're done, except for maybe those middle middle petals here. So let's go ahead and do those. And this time what I'm going to do is wet. Oops, I got the filbert brush, which actually we could use. And I'm going to add in the color from the bottom up. So let's try that. Let's get a little bit of our dab into our dark green this time. And I'm adding it to the light green. We didn't even use the Prussian. And tap in. But by the way, if one of you, I know there was one of you that was really curious about that, painting white flowers, use Prussian blue for this and it would look the same. So I tap that in now. I'm going to, with a dry, thirsty brush, pick some of that up like that. So there we go. Let's go in a little bit darker at the ends. Ooh, that is really dark. Look at that, guys. Whoa. So if I wanted to lighten that up, I can come in with that nice thirsty brush, hardly any water, and just lift that out. And it almost makes it look like it's in the background now, doesn't it? Interesting. There we go. Let's do another one here. I'm just going to show you what, because one of you did ask about the white flower. So if I wet this, oops, see, importance of cleaning your brush. And I'm going to wet that area. And now I'll just use a tiny bit of that Payne's gray. Let me see, where is my Payne's? Here we go, or Prussian blue, whichever one. And I'm using so little amount. Look how watery that was. Okay. And now we'll just go in. I want to really make sure. Okay, I wish I could have showed you that. Let me show you that again. So I tapped off my brush, but let's just see how much paint is still on there. Look at how much is still on there. So I've got plenty. Let's go in. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? Can add a tiny bit of green to that. So that's all you'd basically do with a, if you were doing a white flower, is just add, I'm picking up, lifting, use some blues in there, and that will create a feeling of a white flower. Let's do it again here. So I'm wetting my brush, my petal. Okay, bye, Louise. That noise sounds like my bones. Oh, Lake Tahoe. Oh gosh, I'm dying. Hi, Giovanni. Good to see you here, Teresa. Okay, so I've got white there, but I'm just gonna add the tiniest bit. Let's even go, dare we? With just a dot of black, but I'm gonna water that down. So, look at that. Oh, you can't even see it, can you? So I've got so little on my brush, and now I'm gonna create like I have the lightest touch here, guys. So that gives, I know that looks kind of funky in the camera. I'm going to lighten that up by picking some of it up, and that gives the effect, the feeling of a white flower with just a little bit of gray. This one needs a little help, I think. So let's just add a little something to that one. I'm going to go in there. I'm just using the tip of my brush here. with that black to kind of give it the feeling that it's a white flower. Rinse my brush. I'm going to tap it off and get most of that water off. And then I'll go up and soften those lines. There we go. So these are a little darker than I would normally go for these little flowers, although I've never had them, so I don't really know exactly what they look like. But I think that's quite pretty. I could go in and just add some little grassy areas. I could add one more flower in here maybe. I think would be kind of fun. The other thing I noticed these flowers have on them is they've got these little like pieces that come off. I noticed that. So I'm just going to use the tip of my brush for that. Or the ones I tried growing here did. So there you go, everybody. I might add one more light value leaf here. Just in the background. Kind of round that out. So pretty. I could add another one here. And you know, less is more, guys, to be quite honest, but I just can't stand it. Like that. Yeah, I may go in and end up adding one more little flower here. I think it looks like it could use it. Okay, bye, Kim. Bye, everybody. Okay, well, I think I'm about done. I could add some splatters in here. I could do maybe a little background, would be nice. But I hope you give these little flowers a try, and definitely check out these calendar pages. I'm going to have a lot of fun with them. I think everybody's going to love them. And I think they'll be really fun to play with. If you want to hang out with me for one more minute, I might. How about if we, see, now I'm getting all crazy, guys. How about if we add some pen and ink? Teresa, right? Because we've been playing with pen and ink so much lately. Oh, that's blue. Wow. We do not want blue. Here's black. Something like that. I'm obsessed with pen and ink for years now, so that's just kind of my thing. The little dome. And because I'm not a big, now they're getting kind of dark, but I'm not a big detail person. Sometimes pen and ink is fun for me. There you go, just outlining them a little bit. Yeah, me too, Jean. It's so fun, isn't it? Ooh, MAB. Look at you, Tina. Yes, indeed. Tina, by the way, don't forget to send me your address so I can send you your cards. That would be really pretty too, like maybe the mirror series. That silver, let's play with that. Why not, right? Let's go in there. That might brighten it up a bit. So this is the, I think this one, you can buy these individually, is Opalescence. That might make it look a little lighter too. So we're just playing here now. Because I think actually snowdrops are a little bit more white. Like I said, I don't believe I ever grew them, or I think I tried and they didn't do well. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, Tina, great idea. Look at that. How pretty is that? Yeah, that lightened it up a bit. Oh my gosh, that was great. So glad you said that. All right, guys. Well, I hope that was fun. I always love hanging out with you guys. I love pen and ink. It's so fun. Silver MOD paints. Oh, MAB, yeah. So there you go. I hope you give this one a try. Look at that shimmer. And definitely you could go in there and, you know, add some splatter, add something fun in there, whatever you want, just to add a little bit of background. All right, everybody, happy painting. You're welcome, Tina, and I will see you guys all soon. And happy painting. I'll be right here. You know, make sure you're playing. Don't get too serious. Let's keep having fun, and I'll see you soon.